Mr. Gareth A. Davies, how are we, sir?
Very well, thank you, Addy. Always a pleasure. One of the great moments of my week in the programme to spend an hour with you, digesting and looking ahead, reviewing, previewing all the events. I'm still masticating, if you want, chewing over, and still feel slightly ambivalent about the Misfits cards last week. I mean, obviously, I was up there from Thursday in Manchester. It felt like some of the biggest nights I've ever been involved in whether that be heavyweights, Joshua and Fury in the UK, big events with Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather in Vegas, as big as that it felt, as an event.
Yeah.
There was a gloss of WWE around it all. It was over dramatic at times, but it's a different milieu from mine. I'm glad I'm in it, but I came away thinking, this is so enormous, even to the point of Michael Buffer doing the final announcements and the stars there from music, entertainment, sports. But when the bell went, I wondered if people were really entertained at home, you know? I mean, weirdly, the fight I look back on that most entertained me was the tag team boxing between those four young kids.
That was sensational.
And they put a smile on everyone's face.
Yeah.
It was a weird and wacky night, and it was a weird and wacky week, is what I'll say.
It was. And again, I saw you on the Thursday. I was up there from the Wednesday, and it was just carnage. And I say carnage in a good way. It wasn't anything I've not seen before, but it was just taken up by 100 times. John Fury smashing the cage. You were there. I saw you right there, front and center, to witness that. The cut. So everything. It's almost like the build-up. Is the fight on? Is it off because of Logan getting the cut? But then I heard on Sunday morning that it done over 1 million pay-per-view buys. I think the final figure is like 1.3 million. And I mean, me and you were speaking about this last week, and we both had our guesses. I think you said around 600,000. I said it might touch 1 million.
Yeah, you were right.
For it to get over that figure is incredible.
It really is incredible. And, you know, even if I can just mention it, the live watch-alongs that we now do on talkSPORT, with the four of us, myself, Adam Catterall, Spencer Oliver, and Dominic McGuinness, that did 2.3 million views. And, you know, there were hundreds of thousands of people watching live. The views all last week were extraordinary. So there's a crossover with it. It's growing. That's the point. It's growing. So it's where we place it, how we see it, how we perceive it, how it needs to be. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's certainly going to be around while Tommy Fury, the Paul brothers, Jake and Logan, KSI, and some of these other names. I think those four are the big names in it, obviously. But I've forgotten his name now, the Brazilian who fought.
Whindersson Nunes.
Whindersson Nunes, yeah. I mean, he's got 60 million subscribers in Brazil alone. So
yeah.
The superb man as well. Had a little chat with him at the end. It's difficult to. I kind of understand this perspective of the purists in boxing. That is it damaging boxing? I wonder whether young pro boxers should be on these cards as well with some of the promoters, so that we have a mix of fighters. But the truth is, the fights that resembled boxing more hushed the crowd, and the fights that were raw brawls or caused drama were drawing what this crowd is. It's a different crowd. Over 200 million YouTube subscribers from all of the people on the card, the 11th fight. So it is insane. It's kind of insane, but it's the modern world. I'd rather have a finger in it, in that pie, if you like, than not be involved at all and be sitting on the outside unaware of what it's like close up. They're very good at selling themselves. It's what they do on their platforms anyway. Like Dave B, yeah, one of the Dave, one of the tag team guys. He's a great character. Even tweeted that, look, I just won that fight drunk and I'd had a drink. I looked into that. Calla Sowell and the promoter said, no, they are properly policed behind the scenes. Believe me, he will not have been drinking before that bout. It's stuff like that to deliberately shock. Now, in the mainstream, that would have been a news story. Boxer drunk fights in the ring, which shouldn't be allowed. So it's that kind of area that, for me, Addy, that needs to be policed if we're going to be responsible about the way we cover it.
Yeah, I will say this, that there were a few professional boxers there whose names I won't mention. And I said, what do you make of all of this? Because again, hardcore boxing fans are, you know, I was looking on social media, not very happy about it. And they said they love it. They said they want to be involved in it. They said to walk out to 20,000 when those fighters I was speaking to walk out to 3,000 or 4,000 undercard fights when a man and a dog are watching. They said, this is insane. Idris Virgo, who I can mention, was on stage with me, and he's an unbeaten super middleweight. And he walks out when he pro fights to 300-400 people. Why would you not want to be in that scene when you know you're walking out to that? You know you're going to get the adulation of the fans. It's packed. You were there. It's packed from 6:30. When this doesn't happen in pro boxing, unfortunately, even the big ones, whether it be in Vegas or over here, they're not packing out the arenas or stadiums until the co-main event. Where here, there was a queue outside. I got into the arena around 4 o'clock. I saw a queue at 4 o'clock to get in. Eddie Hearn was there, and he must have been wondering, how do I get some of this into what I do? Because there were kids there, mothers and daughters, fathers and sons. And unfortunately, boxing just has traditional boxing has a demographic of people. And it's struggling to kind of branch out and reach out to other demographics, isn't it? Whereas the Misfits seem to tick all the boxes.
There definitely aren't the groups of people in the bars till the last two fights, which you get at mainstream boxing. I spoke to Idris Virgo a couple of weeks ago as well, and he was trying to line himself up for a fight with Platinum Mike Perry, wasn't he? Who was there at round and about. I spoke to Idris as well, and obviously, like you say, he's a proper boxer, 12-0, with one draw, and he said, I want more of this. Yeah. I want to be involved because I could be on some undercard at the York Hall now, where there's 400 people in there, and I'm done at 8 o'clock in the evening, and I haven't been able to create any platform for myself. He's managed to put in a box that arrogance he has and that fighting spirit he has, a great character, and put himself in that mix. Eddie Hearn I did speak to for the live broadcast, and he said there's always things you can learn from these. He was there with his daughter, who was giving me daggers after a while, saying, I want my dad back. He's up here because I'm here. And I wonder, well, he stuck to his guns, because I was there in Los Angeles in 2019 with a betting agent, spent a whole week there, wrote about it for The Telegraph, did a little bit for talkSPORT on KSI against Logan Paul, their return fight at the Staples Center. Again, that had a massive big fight feel. Mentioned it to you before, Lil Wayne, Justin Bieber, Ryan Garcia, Israel Adesanya,
crazy,
AJ McKee, all the guys, everyone, Baby Slice, everyone who was anyone was there. And I can't remember all the guest list, but it was enormous. And I was sitting that night in the VIP seats as a guest of William Hill. And it did feel enormous. And Eddie Hearn pulled away from it at that point. And on that card, with those two guys headlining, and it was exciting, KSI and Logan Paul, and KSI does create excitement. Devin Haney and Billy Joe Saunders were on that card.
That was the problem.
I just wonder whether Kala Sauerland might go back to that. Because I think the success of this, the concern is the success of this might make them go even more extreme in the way they built this up. And it doesn't marry with the product then, when you actually see the delivery of the product. So it's
okay, I get you. You are correct. Like, throughout the whole week, the build-up is so big, but then unfortunately, the fights then don't really deliver, especially the co-main and main. So if you have that kind of build-up, and look, you saw Chris Eubank Jr. was on stage with me, and then you have maybe a Eubank fight, then you know you're going to get everything you want. You're going to get the carnage of the YouTuber fights, plus you're going to get something special on top with a pro fight. Is that what you're saying?
If that was a Misfits event on Saturday night, and then you had Conor Benn and Chris Eubank headlining at the end, that would be amazing. You know,
that would be amazing.
It would work. I don't think Eddie Hearn's going to go back to that route.
Do you not think he misses it? Do you not think he thinks I've made a mistake here? Again, when you hear the pay-per-view fight buys that have come in, Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz did something crazy. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury did something crazy. Do you think Eddie's probably thinking, damn, we kind of missed this one?
Maybe, but he's taken his stance and he'll probably stick with it now. And it makes sense to stick with it. Or he'll stick with it till what he's doing doesn't work. But I'm not in his head. And again, I asked him, do you regret it? He said, no, that's just the way I've decided to take it. But a promoter, I can't see a Frank Warren or a Bob Arum or a Todd DeBuff, top rank or Queens. I can't see them going there because they're too long in the tooth in the boxing game to go in it, which is why even myself, I'd like to see it curated a bit more, but I don't think it will be. I think it'll get wilder. I think it'll get wackier. And I just think it was so big on Saturday night in terms of numbers and money it will have made, and the drama really from Dylan Dennis non-activity. 9 punches he threw in those 6 rounds.
We'll talk about that.
We'll go to that in a minute.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the fights in itself. But very, very quickly, final one on this one. You mentioned the numbers it did for talkSPORT. I was looking at the concurrent views for talkSPORT when you guys were doing the live watch along. 80,000 people were watching you, Adam Catchell, Spence, and Don McGuinness talk. 80,000 watching you guys watch a fight. Yeah. That only shows the numbers that these guys generate. I've never seen anything like it. And as you say,
the people don't want to pay and they just want to get involved and watch.
80,000 though.
I know, it's big numbers.
It's like everyone in Wembley Stadium watching you guys.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
insane number.